So one thing I want to be clear is that all invoices, before they come onto you that are in construction, we review them and approve them. And I want to say $0, zero extra dollars were spent at the Abrams project. Okay, so we remained within the original contracted amount with $0 extra dollars spent, and we are substantially complete with the project as of today. Okay, so you will not see any additional dollars unless something outside of the construction project happens for Abrams. Okay, so I don't know if we have the.
We are working on, so we may or may not have it for you. So
Okay, no worries, it's all good.
you can email.
I gave you the flash drive. So I'm happy to report that we are substantially complete as of today. So we have all of our final inspections for electric, plumbing, general construction. All of those inspections are in, and we can fully occupy the building. So when we approved this when you approved this in June of this year, we were concerned that there wasn't going to be enough time to be able to complete the project within the summertime because of the number of weeks. So the contractor, what they agreed to was that if we went beyond today, that they would be doing any work in the evenings or on the weekends as to not disrupt your educational program. The contractor took on the challenge and said, we are going to get done in time. So in fact, they are substantially complete as of today. So so we have punch list items, some touch up, some minor hardware things and things like that have to be done. But again, when you're looking at, what we asked them to do was to do 5 classrooms and 2 toilets to get ready for the school year. Okay, so in fact, they are done. So the 5 classrooms, the administrative office, the reception, all the quarters that were part of the project, along with the 6 toilet rooms. Okay, so that's 4 individual toilet rooms for the students and 2 for the staff, and the staff workroom are all complete. The S-Works, those folks worked, those guys and girls worked 10-hour days, they worked the weekends, and they gave us 150% effort and did a fantastic job on this project. What I'm going to recommend is that possibly after Labor Day is that we do a ribbon cutting celebration. That we do something that we can open up for the community. Maybe it's either in the evening or on a Saturday. Maybe we have some snacky food. I'd love to support your CTE program of culinary. But S-Works did, and the entire team did a great job. Your administration, your facilities group, Mr. Silverman, the entire team. I said everybody was absolutely wonderful to work as we worked through this project. The photos that are up on the screen, those were taken as of last Friday. That Travis and Mr. Silver and I were walking through. You can see the floor was covered, so that way they protected the floor, the space, and I would encourage you to go through it even before we get the rooms finished. So this is a standard classroom. So what you can see here is brand new flooring, new lighting, new technology, ceilings. So the overall, we didn't at this point on Saturday they cleaned the windows. So that's why you kind of see you're like, oh, Josh, what's with the windows? Well, the windows were cleaned as of Saturday, and they pressure washed the entire building, cleaned everything. Teachers were able to move in on Monday and Tuesday, and so the building really does look absolutely fantastic. And the reason I'm asking to wait maybe till after Labor Day is we still have kind of the museum piece. So in the lobby, when you first walk in, we want to get all the posters and make sure that we have all of those historical pieces on there, and get it ready for a celebration to bring folks in. But I would highly encourage you to, in that picture right there, so the toilet rooms. These toilet rooms turned out so wonderful. Were you through the old? As a matter of fact, we can take you through the girls' toilet room is still there because we didn't. That's a future phase. But this is an example of the boys and girls and the teachers' toilet rooms. You can see much more light, hard ceilings in there. So they're individual occupancy, so we don't have to worry about students hanging out inside of the restroom. They really are quite fantastic. I said everything is all new, and they look wonderful. Dr. Gretz, have you got a chance to? I know it's the beginning of the school year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's incredible what they did, and in the timeline.
Yeah, we could not be happier, and I said everybody participated and made this really, really quite fantastic. We stretched $1.4 million really, really far on this project. And I encourage you, if you get a chance to go through the building even before we celebrate, but I'm asking if we could do something, I said, just after Labor Day to kind of celebrate and open up for the community, because the folks that participated in the beginning, that said, hey, this is the direction we'd like to see this go into. I'd really love to see those folks be able to see the building, if possible, so.
Dr. Gritz, can we bounce some dates off of Eric and team to see if we can't get some supervisors to come over and see see what we did and the way that we invest our dollars in the community?
Absolutely.
Constitutional officers.
Yeah.
First we need to see what dates we're available. That's gonna be the problem.
Oh, yeah, September is terrible, isn't it?
And it could be October, I'm just,
I think September, earlier, others building is done.
But again, the classrooms, as I said, from a student and staff standpoint, the HVAC is brand new, the lighting is new, technology, electrical, so the overall building feels significantly better than it did before. And so because we gained classrooms, because we took 3 kind of oversized classrooms and now made 5 classrooms that are appropriate sized, it really should be a significantly improvement in the function of the space. Does anybody have any questions or?
I do have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
You said small little touch-ups. Can you give me an example of small little things that you touched up?
Yep, so digging in the wall, so somebody digging the wall, we wanna make sure we touch that up. There's a slice in the floor, something like that, little tiny touch-ups, again, not things you would have to look for to be able to see the improvement, when we're looking at the space that was improved. So Mr. Silverman and Travis and I walked through on Friday, and we had a handful of small comments that were actually gonna be already addressed even before today. So again, it's going to be these are more minor touch-up stuff that can be done either in the evenings or on the weekends, but it has nothing to do with to impact the educational program or the functionality of the space.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I think there was a bead of caulk that might have needed to be cut back behind the one commode in that photo, and I was like, oh, I would go. I had caulk all over my house when we bought it, and I was just, so my eyes are trained to be like, oh, that needs to be thinned.
And that's a great point. So as a matter of fact, in a couple of the toilet rooms, the person that did the caulking in the mortar in between the grout joints, well, the cleaner came in and was maybe just a little tiny more aggressive than we'd like them to be. So the person had to come back and do some touch up on there. But again, these are all small items. All in all, I said everything really looks fantastic. It's a significant improvement in the space.
So great. If I hadn't had my grout touched up 3 times because the builder did it stupidly, I would not be immediately seeing things.
Okay, anybody have any?
Josh, thank you for everything you did to help land this plane. It's been a really positive project.
Good. Glad to hear that. Thank you.
The results are great. I look forward to celebrating with the community.
I want to congratulate y'all for getting it done. I didn't think you'd be able to do it.
I think everybody was a little bit apprehensive.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't think it was gonna happen. S-Works, again, I can't say enough good things, and hopefully they're listening to this. I cannot say enough good things to them because they went above and beyond to make sure that we had a great product and we were finished on time. Yeah, they really did. They were absolutely wonderful the entire project. And Earl, who's a superintendent on site, and Owen, the project manager, they really stepped up and made everything fantastic.
It would be a good idea as we, to the extent that we can have an open house, to have our sort of like phase 2 proposal and numbers and what that would include available to share with the supervisors and others in real time so that we can start the conversation around whether or not, there'll be a discontinuity between old and new. And I think our teammates here, supers and otherwise, should see that and then collectively decide whether or not a phase 2 investment is something that we as a county can plan for.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you all. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Ms. Barris.
Thanks so much.
On the reports, 9A, Enforcement Superintendent, Dr. Grass.
Did you?
No public comment.
Skip.
Yeah, I'm on. apologize, long day at work. All right. We come to the time of our meeting for public comments. I remind everyone that by policy, our members of community, meaning residents of Fluvanna and staff of Lynn County Public Schools, may address the school board unless we're a legal counsel representing a group interested in tonight's proceeding. We welcome all community members who are here to give information or opinions. We'll ask you to come to the podium, tell us your name, address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. We'll start if anybody's signed up. If you're not signed up, you still can come down to speak. Seeing as nobody's coming down to speak, we will end the first round of public comments. We do have a second round of public comments later in the meeting. All right, Dr. Rex.
Thank you, Mr. Key. Members of the board, there's quite a bit in my report. Something is going on with board docs. I don't know exactly what it is, but Ms. Kreitzer's had a hard time uploading things, but I'm sure all the links and everything will be cleared up as soon as they get things fixed on their end. But because of the volume of what I want to go over with you, I'm not going to get a lot from the report unless you want me to go through some of those things. I'll just touch on, I think the retreat that you held, that I participated with you, was a very positive experience. I'm really happy with the way that turned out. Convocation, back to school, the back to school bash, first day of school, all the activities there, everything has been very, very positive and it's gone very smoothly. So there's a lot of information in here. I don't ever want to, devalue that. But for the sake of time, I do want to call your attention to two pieces of information that are linked, and I actually emailed them, so you might have them, Dr. Stribling, that way. But for those that are wanting to follow along, they're in board docs under the reports. The Wolpert capacity study is actually titled Facilities Update. That is the capacity study. And I'm not going to go through all of that with you. I'll just submit that to you to look at. What I've done is, if you look at the facilities update additional information, that is a slide deck that I will go through just to kind of highlight what's in that exhaustive report. And once you've had a chance to digest it, next month, if we want to go back, or if you would like me to present something a little more specific, I'm happy to do that. So if you could pull up those slides, Dr. Stribling, that's what that is, isn't it? So you can, first slide. So the purpose of this, just to make sure that we're all clear, last March, this same firm delivered a report to us. It was an enrollment projection report that gave us projections, 3 levels of projections, one very moderate, conservative, and then one kind of aggressive in terms of 10-year lookout of what to anticipate by school, by population. So this was the second phase of what we were hoping to accomplish with Wolpert, and this is the capacity study. So the purpose is to give us a snapshot of how our schools are currently being used, so how they're being occupied. It doesn't just look at the number of classrooms, but it looks at how programmatically the schools are being used, and you'll see how that is brought to bear as we go through the report. It's important to just highlight these two terms. And if you look at the report itself, there's a whole page of definitions, and those are important. But I just want to make sure, design capacity, this considers the capacity of the building if every instructional space is being used the way it was originally designed to be used. And so, as you know, we have facilities that were designed in the 50s, 60s, 70s. They're not currently being used in all cases the way they were originally designed. So program capacity is the capacity based on delivering what we are currently delivering today. I should just read it. What the building can realistically support while delivering today's instructional program. So examples in that box are some of the specialized services that have developed over time. We don't currently design programmatically our schools the way they may have been designed many years ago. STEAM programs, CTE programs, school safety initiatives, all those things change the way schools are operating. So overall, you'll see the report, I think it's very encouraging. What they recommend is that schools should be operating at an 85 to 95% capacity threshold. They recommend that you don't go to 100% because if you're operating at 100% capacity, you can't tolerate any fluctuations of any kind. Less than 85%, you're really not, you run the risk of not utilizing the building efficiently. So overall, division-wide, we're at 87. So this is considered by Wolpert to be the ideal range. There's another box, Dr. Stribling, if you click. So we're not underutilized. We're not facing any immediate capacity crises. We still have some flexibility in some spaces. In some spaces, you'll see we really don't have flexibility. This is just a caution as you read the report. Higher utilization doesn't necessarily mean better maximized efficiency for the reason I just said. If you hit 100%, you don't have flexibility to handle scheduling problems, larger class sizes, you don't have intervention spaces, there are all kinds of reasons that you don't want to be right at the threshold of 100%. Similarly, the lower you get, that doesn't automatically mean that you're being wasteful. So the threshold is for us to try to stay in the 85 to 95% range. So what I've done is pulled out of the report the snapshot for, as you go through the report, each school facility will have a chart like this that shows you programmatic capacity on the left and design capacity on the right. So if you remember, design capacity on the right is if you were utilizing the building the way it was originally designed. Program capacity on the left is using the building the way it is currently designed. And that's why you will see, this is Central Elementary, you'll see on the right, there is not the special ed resources, the best lab isn't there, you don't have the literacy and math specialized places, you don't have a STEAM lab. Those things were not in part of that building when it was originally designed. So one of the things that is part of the methodology here is called a scheduling factor. And so what they do is build in a calculation. So if you're on a block, if you have 4 blocks, they would schedule for a school, for our 2 schools that are on the block, a scheduling factor of 75%, because what they're assuming is that any given period out of the 4, there would need to be a planning block. And so you can't have all spaces operating at full capacity, all 4 blocks. So if you have an enrollment of 500, and this is just for, just to make the point, an enrollment of 500 and a scheduling factor of 75, the capacity for this study would be 375. Does that make sense? There's no scheduling factor here because they don't have planning periods the same way the high school does. So the way you would read this chart, there is a quantity of spaces. So reading from the left, I'm not going to read it all to you, just want to make sure you know what you're looking at. There are 3 pre-K classrooms. There's 1 pre-K self-contained classroom. There are 12 kindergarten classrooms, 12 first grade classrooms, and so on. The caseloads down at the bottom reflect our maximum caseload that we want to have in each of those spaces. The reason you don't see caseloads in the, so the resource space, the best lab, is because students would be double counted if we counted them in those spaces at the same time we're counting them in the 12 and 13 of the others. All that makes sense? Okay. So a total enrollment of 743, a utilization factor of 83. There are a couple of reasons why I think this one is just a little bit below the ideal threshold. There are some spaces at Central, if you've been through there. There are some classroom spaces that are being used right now. Well, there's one being used as an office. So you've got the resource officer in there, and you have the wing where the kindergarten wing is, an office down there. That's my best explanation for why that is. Now, this firm is gonna come in and they're completely unbiased. It's a third-party review, and so any questions about the way this is laid out? Now, in the report, as you go through, you'll see floor plans for each of the buildings and a little more material. I just pulled these out. So we can just run through these then, Dr. Stribling? If everybody's kind of clear on how it's being calculated. Carriesbrook is the one that is it is the closest to nearing full capacity at 93%. Won't read the chart to you, but you can see how they're reaching that. The middle school, 84%.
Could you go back to the?
Carriesbrook? Sure. Back one more, Doctor. Thank you.
528. Okay, thank you.
And then the middle school is at 84, I think, and then the high school will be a little harder to read because there are a lot more spaces, obviously. At 87%. So if, you can see they're using that 75% scheduling factor, that calculation. Because again, if you're on a block, at any given block, there will be 25% of the capacity of the enrollment not in that facility at that time. Or that space, rather, at that time.
I mean, but is that true in a world in which teachers float between classrooms? Like I know we have at least some who have a cart and like are using planning periods in other classrooms, right?
Not many,
Not-
but there are some.
But that does that eats into this like 75%. Theoretical
It could.
threshold.
The interesting thing about the high school is that it was originally designed with, I guess they're called pods, teacher pods. So there are these rooms where teachers have cubbies. And the original design, at least I'm told, I wasn't here for this, was that teachers wouldn't have classrooms. They would operate out of those cubbies and float among the classrooms. That's why the design capacity is what it is, because that's the way it was designed. And if it were being used that way, it's not been used that way. It never has been used that way. I can't speak to why that is or what the thinking was around the design versus the.
I mean, it's a huge building that was built for more population than we have, so I imagine that the necessity of teachers floating at all times just like didn't need to come to fruition. I mean, why would you do that if you didn't have to?
And that's harder to do than you don't just flip a switch and suddenly not have a classroom. I think there's some growing pains that might come with that. I wasn't here, but there's some training.
I mean, it sounds like it's something that we theoretically could do should our numbers like
Could do.
increase, but like until you're at capacity, why would you do that? Clearly, we do it for some number of teachers and or classes that are floating, but like it sounds like a nightmare to institute if you don't have to.
Walk me through students not being double counted in the second half there. So when we were in the younger schools, we didn't want students double counted. And then when we get to middle school, is that just based on scheduling, whereas it may just be in band and gym and other, not necessarily.
You're asking why we have,
0 for the best lab, because I can't be in the best lab and in kindergarten. I need to be counted somewhere.
and for each of these, there is a teacher teaching that at that
Okay.
time.
That was where I was going with that,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Scheduling and teacher, right, okay.
So you see the light blue support resource and pull out, that one is considered the way it was at the elementary level.
Sorry, a lot of lines.
So there's a lot of information in the
Took me a
report that I encourage you to read. Next slide, Dr. Stribling. If you're ready to move
Yeah.
on.
I mean,
capacity.
So this is Abrams, and you know, they went ahead and did Abrams. The reality is, this would be, I think, very different if it were being done now that the renovation has happened. But before, this was over capacity from their methodology. And again, that was before it was renovated with the classroom spaces it has now. So
What would it cost to have them just do Abrams again to show the investment, the fix?
I don't know. I'm happy to look into that though.
Just when was the official date that it was done versus, I mean, to Dr. Kelly's point in having momentum and talking with supervisors and all getting on the same page, I just think it can help to show the fix in an actual tangible number.
Yeah.
And what that price tag was.
The other difficult thing about doing a facility like Abrams is because the population there is so fluid. At any given time, there might be 18 students or 32 students or 12 students. But I am happy to look into that if you, I think your point is
That's a
well
good
taken.
point, it's
Sure.
with the
So
fluctuation.
key takeaways from the report, again, the facilities are being utilized well, there's efficiency, there's no significant crisis anywhere. Carriesbrook is the one that seems to be, from their methodology, at the closest to that point. I think you can disregard that bullet on Abrams, or at least we can take that with a grain of salt, because I do think things are different there. And the recommendation is for these two reports to be part of a long-range facilities master plan. Now, we have a CIP certainly, but what we have talked about, Dr. Stribling and Ms. Suarez and I, is developing a facilities plan that considers the information that we got through the enrollment projections, any population growth information that we have. And then the one missing piece that they would recommend is that you conduct an adequacy study. So we have a capacity study, we have enrollment projections, and the capacity study answers the question, how many people can you have in these buildings and still do what you're doing? The adequacy study says, regardless of how many people here, how adequate are the facilities for what you're trying to do with them? And it looks at aging, it looks at, so it's a third-party independent view of the actual status of the physical facility.
So this is an infrastructural assessment,
Yes.
the building. And what's the approximate cost for that one?
I don't know. I would have to get them to submit something to us.
Is that something that the majority of the board would be interested in getting a price for? So we can kind of put these three pieces together of how many are we getting, where do they go, and is our building gonna fall apart?
Yeah, I think it's worth getting.
Sure.
See what it would cost.
Yeah.
Start the conversation.
Three on the front. So I have been comparing, because I've been anxious about seeing this capacity study. And like, I'm a scientist, right? And so I am open to being wrong. And I'm open to, like, if you don't know the answer, you just gotta like gather data. And so right now, as I'm crossing, I have our population study up, and I got our capacity study up together. And like in my mind for the last, I don't know, 2 years here, I've been like, we need, how many are we getting, and how many can our building take, and at what point does that line cross the line of we're over capacity? And right now, I'm not seeing a crisis in the next 10 years specifically. Like, I think the closest when I look at these numbers is probably Carriesbrook. They're a little apples and oranges because the central one is K2, not pre-K to 2, and so the numbers don't exactly align. But it looks like even in the most extreme of circumstances, it's in 9 more years, Carriesbrook will be at like 98% capacity. It'll be about 5 students shy of 100, which is not ideal, but potentially weatherable, question mark, if the building itself is structurally sound and meets needs. So this makes me a little less concerned that we're gonna like show up one day and get another 50 or 100 elementary kids and not know where to put them, but I need to like read the document in more detail, but at least for now, I feel quite content that like I'm not seeing the, here's our population and our building capacities here and we're gonna blow by it in 2 years or 5 years. It seems like there's, to the extent that the infrastructure needs to be replaced or it's best practice or what have you, it seems like we've got some planning time, which is,
And it's really the ideal time if you think, you said 9 to 10 years, and that doesn't mean something's gonna happen in 10 years, but really.
it's just the like lifespan of our demography that we have.
The projection for a plan to be done well, really 10 years is a perfect lookout period.
Didn't you say that you just had a school open that you had started the planning on in a different division?
Yeah, Goochland Elementary School, my first task was to present the schematics that Mosley had drawn for that building. That was 2008, and they just opened it last year. That's a little bit longer than
That's
typical.
a little longer than I would hope. So
You
there's some
get
relief
at least
there.
half of that.
There's some relief there. Do the numbers that are suggested here at like operational capacity, does that gel with leadership's sort of like impression and or vibe in the buildings? You guys are there far more frequently than like board members are, with like maybe some rare exceptions. Does seeing Abrams listed at 125 feel like maybe what it felt like last year? Does Carriesbrook being kind of the tightest of the bunch, does this like reflect reality in a way that's meaningful to you?
Great question. I mean, I would just give you an anecdotal answer on my part. I would need to spend a little more time, and we'll continue to do that, but with the report, specifically on my experience when I go in Central,
Mhm.
Central does not feel like it has the capacity that this report suggests it does. The capacity to absorb new students.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of my thoughts was,
Do you feel like?
where do you put them or what?
Central, we have the more numbers of classroom spaces. Right now, they're either serving as offices or pull-out resource rooms. I mean, if you utilize all of those spaces, then I think that
That's the
capacity
issue,
would be
yeah.
true. But then where would all of those people in those special services go? So I think that's the.
Using it the way it is now without changing, you know,
Operating models.
significant. Mhm.
So you think, or you feel like on a day-to-day operational level that Carriesbrook in particular feels a little tighter than maybe what they're suggesting?
I think it's relative too. I mean, 15, 20 years ago, it was typical for third grade to have, 24 students in a classroom. And since COVID, we've, kind of kept our numbers down at around 20 for a third grade classroom. So, I guess it's that I think plays a big part in the equation too, of what the expectation for class size is in terms of utilization. And I mean, that school used to, I taught there when it was grades 6, 7, and 8, and right, those students were much larger than our current students. So when I walk into a third grade classroom with 24 kids, it feels pretty okay compared to, when that classroom fit 25 8th grade students in it. So,
Yeah, it does feel a bit tighter.
So, yeah, any questions on that report?
This is something where I imagine we'll want a little more time to sort of ingest, digest, et cetera. But this feels like something that should go out to the supers with the population study as well, so that they're in tandem.
It gives us a baseline to begin this planning. Sets us up well. Ms. Kreitzer? The slides related to the physician, are they under reports?
They're on the screen right now.
Or where are they in the packet? I didn't know if I should do them now or wait until we get to the action item.
Under the MOU.
They're actually under FY
Oh, in the budget, okay. Sorry, I knew that. I'm sorry. So is there anything you'd like me to go over from the report? I knew that was gonna take a little bit of time, but there's a lot of information in my report as well that I hope you'll take advantage of. I'm happy to speak to something if you'd like me to.
Any other questions about that?
No, that was,
I think this is great. I mean, I feel like to some end, small divisions fly blind as it relates to some of this. You get exogenous shocks, population or otherwise, and you don't quite know what you're signing up for. I mean, one year we were looking at a 13th kindergarten not too long ago, and so to actually have a bit of data that you know you can squabble over methodology if you're inclined to get in the weeds, but like we have a baseline for sort of who we or how many we think are coming and how old, and then how many can our building hold for the moment. I think getting that third piece gives us some long-term planning, especially, you know, as I hear from some of our supervisors about long-term maintenance, like even on the new high school, how do we make sure that that's not something that sort of decays because we're frankly due to negligence or lack of maintenance. And so I think getting that third piece to the extent that it is not prohibitively expensive really gives the county and the schools a playbook or a roadmap.
Yeah, I agree. If you look in the report, you don't have to pull it up, Dr. Stillman, but there are some numbers. It's a little early. Obviously, we look for the first 10 days, but we do appear to be up 34 students from where we were last spring. And then the last thing I would just want to give a shout out to Jen Valentine, Caitlin Harlow Berner and their team. The work that they did to plan and implement and pull off an amazing back to school bash was I can't say enough about it. They're such hard workers and such great planners. And there's a large team of people that did it every year. I think it gets even better, yeah. And Jen also led really the work to plan our with some other people. She really spearheaded our convocation, and that has also become the last couple of years where we really had a lot of involvement from our staff. We've had a lot of positive comments there. She has done an amazing job, so I want to say that. So with that, yes.
Reports B, review of FY26 budget updates, Ms. Suarez and Dr. Gritz.
Do you want to pull up the first document? So here's a look at our categorical for FY26. Operations does look like we had a lot of unspent funds, but that was that Abrams project money that, right, we weren't able to pay on invoices, and so those POs have been moved to FY27. For FY26, we are still expecting, well, we do still have 1 month of state sales tax revenue that we're anticipating will run about $450,000, and then we're waiting on about $160,000 in federal reimbursements that we're still waiting on. So we are still anticipating approximately $1 million for carryover. If sales tax holds strong to that, maybe a little bit on the plus side of $1 million. And then, any questions about FY26?
Any questions, board? Let's review the 27 budget updates, Ms. Suarez.
And then for FY 27, if you can click on the second document, the school board packet.
The budget book or the?
No, I'm sorry, the one at the bottom that says school board packet. All the way at the bottom far left, right, yes.
Gotcha, right here.
No, one more over, there we go. So I just wanted to draw your attention, we have added cafeteria as a category. So there was that $300,000 we budgeted to support the operating funds for the cafeteria on a transfer basis, and then you can see for the month of July what had been transferred to date. And then again, operations looks high now on FY27 side, and that is primarily due to that Abrams project.
on the cafeteria front, are we, how do we feel about this wedge, and or do we believe that we're gonna be able to, like, that our investment is sufficient to make things?
So and then, to date, for
Sure.
July, it was a $10,000 transfer. For August, we did have to do an additional 130 to cover payroll and July invoices. That is though similar to what we experienced last year, and then Ms. Jones's reimbursements start to catch up. So I feel like it's gonna be a needed wedge, and I think last year we did 320 in terms of cafeteria transfers. So be right on target.
Any changes in compensation from the state or any of the like structural things that lead to the deficit?
You mean like in terms
Like we
of-
have,
Oh, like
how
in
much we're
terms of-
getting back, we have
Yeah.
food cost and we
No,
have staff
our
costs.
like those metrics that go into our ISP rates are pretty consistent to what they were last year, so I don't anticipate.
Got you, so we should expect, if nothing changes, we should expect similar outcomes to last year. But if either the cost of human capital or food costs, et cetera,
Sure.
rise, then we should expect the deficit to grow.
So,
The only thing that's really fixed is the measly amount of money that we get paid.
Well, we have a
for-
place where we know where exactly it's coming from.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
it's sure, but like that's accounted for.
Yeah.
Like if last year was 320 and we budgeted 300, then like it's not quite enough, but almost enough to break even, so I just wanted to make sure that we're balancing and that we know ahead of time if we're at 225 out of 300 and we got some odd months left, like are we gonna be able to land this? But the fact that
we're very close.
every kid is able to have a meal twice a day is fabulous.
And then the last thing for FY '27, and it is on as an action item tonight, is that additional 1% salary increase, to total the 4% that was approved in the state budget. So the cost of an additional 1% for us is about $460,000. What is included now in the template that went from 2 to 4% is an additional $320,000. So it would mean needing to find about $140,000 in order to, somewhere else in the budget, right, to do an additional 1%. I will say, comparing to FY '26, where, for example, with the bonus, we were able to pull from salary lines, that is not the case in FY '27's budget. So that 140, it would definitely, we would still be able to stay within categories, but it would be from purchase services, materials, those kinds of things.
Oh, yes, I do. Thank you. So, last month, we talked to you about our desire to enter into an agreement with a supervising position, and the board had asked for a little more information. This is probably more than you will want or need, but I'll summarize some of this. We have had a supervising physician, and it was Dr. Keller from Orange. I'm assuming because of his association with the former superintendent, he was donating those services to the division. He continued to do it after he retired for a year to allow us some time to procure somebody new. What we're finding, frankly, is that it's most people don't give it away. It's not free. They have to take on additional liability insurance. And so we've surveyed our surrounding neighbors. A lot of people, well, I say a lot, I'd say about half are getting this kind of support from their local health department. And I want to be very careful here that I'm not saying something to negative about our health department. Ours is not interested in doing this. They're not interested in taking this on. And many aren't. Some school divisions, Louisa, comes to mind. Some school divisions get this from their health department, they don't pay for it. Other school divisions do not, and they have to contract with a local provider, similar to what we've been doing, and again, he just was waiving his fee. And there are some school divisions who operate without one. And so your question last time is essentially, what does that mean? So we've obviously there's increased needs. Fluvanna, for whatever reason, we have an extraordinarily high population of diabetics in our schools with significant needs, more than most, for whatever reason. So the ability for our nurses and for Ms. Patterson, who's the head nurse, to consult with somebody in situations where there's something related to legal compliance, there's additional medical expertise that's needed, student safety matters, really could mean the difference between a student receiving some treatment or receiving some care while they're waiting for a parent, and the gap between getting to Charlottesville. And that's what we've been enjoying for all of these years, and what we'd like to continue to have. You can go through, Dr. Stribling. We won't need to. So there's clinical support, operational support. I won't read this to you. Obviously, we experienced the light blue when we went through the pandemic. So across Virginia, you're seeing more and more schools that are expanding the way they're delivering health services to students. There are more and more school-based health centers that are popping up. That's something I'd love to talk about in the future, but that's certainly not something we're prepared to do now. But innovative partnerships between schools and community healthcare providers, nurse practitioners, and then the physician oversight is the other one that more and more is happening, because our school nurses are not always equipped to handle the kinds of things that are happening. And the benefit there is if we can help reduce treatment time and we can help meet these healthcare needs quicker, we will see an impact on student absences. There's an increase in student access to care that otherwise they may not have. Tylenol is a big one that many schools deal with. If you don't have a standing order and a supervising physician that's willing to write that standing order, then you can administer Tylenol with parent permission. Parent has to drive to the school and give the Tylenol to the child. And so, and we do a lot of this. And our parents, I don't want to speak for our parents, but I think they've come to expect that this is something that happens at school. This would be a big change for us if we were not able to administer Tylenol with parent permission. So I think, Dr. Stribling, you'll probably go to the summary slide. Well, obviously we do have 35 to 45 minute drive to get students somewhere, so it can have a big impact.
Can you speak to you said earlier that we were sort of maybe per capita overpopulated with juvenile diabetes. Do you know?
I don't want to say overpopulated, but we have a higher concentration of acute diabetes cases in our schools than most school divisions have, at least that I'm familiar with or that Ms. Patterson's familiar with.
Do we know that, like, can you say the scale? Are we talking about like 10 or like 50?
No, more like 15
More like
in a
15.
given school, which is quite a few.
Does that require like so if these are particularly sensitive cases, and I don't pretend to be a medical professional.
Sure.
Does this mean that our nurses need like additional instruction and or resources in order to like help manage that caseload?
I would probably want to ask Ms. Patterson that. I don't want to speak for her. She's not requested that.
Hmm.
Some of those cases are, they're being monitored 24/7 by the nurse and the parent in consultation with an app. Others are not quite as acute. I was really using that as an example, not so much as that being the justification specifically for the supervising physician.
No, it's a good example
Sure.
of like demand side that we don't like think about. I mean, I don't know, how many EpiPens do we think float through the school building in a given day too, right? It's gotta be substantial.
So our recommendation is to contract with a local provider in buyer with Fluvanna Health Clinic. The MOU is included under an action item. So I'm happy to pull it up now if you wanna look at it, or you can look at it when we get there, if you haven't seen it already. It is a $20,000
Yeah.
expense.
Can you open, it won't open on?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't access any of it,
The MOU?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
the link's been.
yeah,
So Fluvanna,
But they can't access.
yeah,
Oh, I see.
yeah, so can you put it up there now so we can,
and Fluvanna Health Clinic, is that the one that's on,
Yes.
like, over by the high school?
there's two locations.
There's one in Fork Union and
It's
one
open.
across the street.
Truist Bank, the old Truist Bank in Fork Union, but also, you're right, yeah, 53 right there by the.
Like, right by the high school.
You know,
I think I'll have to email it to you, Dr. Stribling. For you to be able to display it.
Did you reach out to any other provider, Dr. Gertz, or just, she was the only one
She's the only one,
who's willing to?
yeah.
Did we chat with the county and using their medical director for all the EMS services we have?
I don't know if, honestly, I don't know. I did not speak with them. Dr. Stribling and Ms. Patterson may have.
Nothing against Amy. Amy is the best. I
Sure.
deal with and work with her all the time. She's awesome.
But this is not an expense that we were anticipating, otherwise you would have had it sooner.
What's the FNPC? Next to her credentialing?
see.
Oh, is it family? I don't know. Or the next to her name is FNP-C. I was curious what some of the acronyms were. I assume it's nurse practitioner. But what's the F and the C?
Probably nurse.
I guess, yeah. I guess I could just like kind of Google it.
I think I can pull it up.
FNPC, Family Nurse Practitioner Certified. Okay. Got it.
Could you go back, what was that cost? Was that 20?
20,000.
So she's just a nurse, not a doctor? We already have a nurse though.
Nurse practitioner.
So she's a nurse practitioner,
Doctor.
so it's a different,
That's way up there.
Close to a doctor.
Yeah.
Well, we do the same, almost.
So is this something like a yearly contract from July 1st to whatever, or how does this contract go?
It would be an MOU that we would renew with her every year.
New budget item going forward.
How do these requirements get dispersed? Is this something like a monthly fee?
I'm sorry?
How does she get paid? This is a one-time lump sum to her, or does she get paid
She would
something every month?
invoice us. I
She
would
would
assume,
invoice us every,
yeah.
okay. So every month she would invoice us based on,
I really don't know.
Can you keep scrolling? Or on this page.
Can you scroll down, please?
Because she would be taking on additional liability, my assumption would be that this would be an upfront annual payment rather than monthly.
Yeah, the liability increases on the insurance, they're not gonna wanna check.
Do we have a figure of how much or how often we talk about medical expertise and our nurses reaching out for protocols and asking questions? How often was that happening with Dr. Keller? Is it gonna burden her with her
Business. Yeah.
her actual business running and stuff by getting phone calls all the time from nurses asking questions? Just how often was that happening? Do
No,
we
no,
know?
I wouldn't think that it would burden her. I honestly couldn't tell you how often. Because I'm not sure I would typically know unless it was something life-threatening.
So could you give us an example of when she would be called? Can you give us a good example of that? When would she be called and asked?
It could be a head injury, it could be some sort of allergic reaction.
So in those cases, that doesn't replace emergency services. That would be in addition to, like if a kid has a head injury, like if we're not calling for EMS, then like I don't know what we're doing.
Sure.
Is this in addition to, we would,
In the immediate, whatever care would be given.
Mhm.
By the time the parent gets there, if the doctor consults with the nurse and then Ms. Patterson or the school nurse can give the parent some direction on what to do next.
how is that workflow limited by, I don't know, was it G up there maybe, or F, about, I can't see. Refrain from providing direct clinical care, diagnosis, or treatment to students unless authorized through a separate written agreement or standing order and approved. So like, how does that clause work with the, like, the example that we were just giving?
She's advising our nurse.
Advising, got it.
And the biggest, I think the biggest change that our school community will feel immediately, like I said, is just the administration of Tylenol. Stop.
And also the EpiPen things, right, like.
No, the EpiPen is a different order. This is not needed for the EpiPen.
Gotcha. I don't even have the sense, like, how much Tylenol do we dole out on a,
Quite a bit.
do we?
Did you have anything you wanted to add, Dr. Stribling? I'm doing my best to do justice here. You and Sonia.
You've done a fine job. Most of my input was in the MOU piece.
Okay.
Mr. Gritz,
Yes.
since we already had Dr. Keller as a physician doing this, I assume he was covered under our insurance before?
No.
No? He had his own insurance. So how much additional insurance, I know it said how much, but how much will it cost the schools?
It won't cost the schools anything.
She's blanket covered.
Yeah. She has to have her own. So any other questions for me or any other information that I can bring you?
And I guess, Doc, you're recommending that this MOU contract.
Yes.
All right, any further discussion? All right, on the unfinished business, A, review dates for school board retreat, continued discussion. Is there any further discussion you want to have about the retreat we had before we set another date to continue?
I thought it was productive. I mean, that is my input to that. I know one or two of us all chatted there at the end. I thought it just abruptly ended quick. I thought we were getting off to a good start after lunch, and they were like, all right, so let's.
Yeah, that was kind of me and Dr. Collins and Dr. Gretz, we all got together. We didn't really know how long should we go.
Gotcha.
So we just picked a time frame. We think that it would be productive.
Yeah, but I thought there was productive discourse, especially when we started getting breaking out into groups and working with administration and the board all moving up, so.
Yeah, I was curious, like, usually when we do these kinds of things in like more corporate settings, we then pivot from, we did a little bit of a SWOT analysis, right? Strengths, weaknesses, so on and so forth. And usually you would pivot from there to like picking a couple of the like problems or threats or what have you, and starting to do some solutioning. And I'll need to go back to notes or get photos of the like work that we did to see if there were areas where we could have like double clicked into solutioning.
But we still have an opportunity to do part two,
Mhm.
design, however we want to design.
And so if we did that, obviously there would be like incremental cost to bring Dr. Collins back, and that's just part and parcel of it. But we would just do like an hour or so early one meeting.
Yeah, I think I'm targeting, October 14th at 4 p.m. Start before our regular board meeting.
Public, closed, public.
Yes.
Public, closed, public.
So I guess is everyone okay with that date?
October 14th.
Did Anthony get some of the information about what we did?
Yeah, Anthony, did Dr. Collins reach out to you yet?
Not yet.
He's gonna reach out to you and go over what we went on that first.
Yeah, I looked at it.
Okay.
I looked at it, yeah, I did the video.
Oh, cool. At least one person watched the video.
Yeah, Dr. Collins, he was your principal, right? Yeah, he was our
Wow.
principal, we were at Fluvanna.
I mean, 14th works for me.
All right, review attendance of September 9th.
Sorry, so that we have a consensus that October 14th at 4 p.m. to continue.
Yes.
Okay, cool. And that'll be publicly advertised and added to our
Yep.
board docs and all that.
Yep.
Should board docs cooperate.
Hopefully by October meeting.
Yeah.
All right, review attendance of our September 9th, 2026 school board meeting. I know we have 2 board members who are wanting to participate by Zoom. But my recommendation as a chairman, that's changed the date because we want to make sure we have a quorum to have our meeting. And I think September the 23rd, does that date work?
Yeah, I'll know publicly that I'm traveling. I got a thing I do every year in September. I'd be happy to hop on Zoom from the West Coast, but that requires at least 3 members here, and we've gotten burnt a couple of times before, so I'm
And I
avoiding that.
have military orders that I have to be away, so. And same thing, I have no problem clearing my schedule, but
Yeah, and for the record, you guys said you could do Zoom, but I just think that if something else happened with one.
yeah, a family emergency or,
And to be
Vehicle.
clear, my pursuits are far less noble than Sean's.
oh, stop. I'd rather be here.
But the 23rd, if we were to effectively shift 2 weeks and move from the 9th to the 23rd and do 5:30 and 6:30, it makes us later in the month, but it seems like maybe folks could swing that.
Yes.
23rd is a good one.
And then Dr. Gretz, would moving 2 weeks later in the month of September ultimately impact any sort of operational logistics and or policy things that are time sensitive?
Nothing I can think of regarding policy. Only would probably approve a budget, or at least consider a budget calendar. I don't think the 2 weeks, can you think of anything? business wise. I can't think of anything that would be
Nothing
conflicting.
with timeline on federal fiscal year ending, right around the corner of that, just, okay.
No, it's an inconvenience to move things that are on a calendar, but I think it's just such a disservice to show up and not have a quorum, that it's worth the minor disruption versus a major letdown.
Or major embarrassment.
Been embarrassed by it before.
All right, so we got a date, September 23rd. All right, any new business?
Mr. Chair, do we need to vote on that, or is that fine enough? I don't know if we need to vote on a move of a date.
I don't know. It's a great question.
Okay.
Is that a no or a I don't?
No, if you change it, you're okay, but if you feel like you have to.
No, I was just checking.
You always keep us in line, I thought.
Actual agenda items.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Discuss it.
She just always keeps us in line.
You say the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, it's regular, it'll be, 5:30, 6:30.
All right.
Cool, we'll make sure we communicate. I'll do my best to communicate on social media too for the move time.
And Ms. Price, she's gonna advertise it, so. All right, any new business? All right, on the action items. 12A, approval of staff salary increase per state budget updates. All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I'm just trying to open it, sorry.
Slow move.
Alright,
This is the 1%, correct?
Yes. Dr. Gretz had went over it earlier.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer questions or nothing's changed from before yet. This is the additional,
140, we have to,
that's right.
and from my recall from our previous conversations, the additional state revenue that's coming in a disparate number of pockets ultimately cover the totality of the increase, or it's close.
So yeah, cause
Let's see, it's close.
I would say it's close, and I mean, they have to fit within categories, but we have staff in all those different categories also, so.
And so do we have any concerns about continuing to meet, exceed / return money to the county reliably if we do this additional 1% increase in order to maximize state funds?
Like I said, our salary lines, just with the, new staff and where people were hired in at, are a little significantly tighter than they were last year, but, with the increase, the other half of the increase in state funds,
I guess with this, if it gets approved, would this be included in their first check or?
So we aren't gonna make August, if you approve tonight, we will not be able to make August payroll, but we do have a timeline to be able to make it'd be effective with some September payroll, cause we would need to recalculate, we wouldn't issue new contracts, but we would issue addendums. People don't have to sign them necessarily, but it'll go out the same way as your contracted and says, here's your updated amount. We'll need to, get all that sorted with payroll and VRS, and so we were planning to effective with September payroll, whatever the increase difference is, just then continue to, for the remaining months, pay that out.
So not a back pay, but prorated
Yes.
across the number of
Correct.
months of their contract. So take the, okay. Cool, Mr. Chair, I'm gonna move that we approve the staff salary increase pursuant to the state budget update.
All right, thanks, Dr. Kelly. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Mr. Evans. All right, is there any further discussion? All right. All those in favor of approval of staff salary increase for state update, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Action item passes. So 12B, approval of the physician MOU contract.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, just for my records, was that a 5-0 or a 4-1?
5-0,
Thank you.
sorry.
No, it's okay. I just didn't hear them all.
Yeah, we said it the same, almost the exact same time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That happens, and if I'm not looking up, I can't figure out who said what.
All right, entertain a motion for approval of the physician MOU contract.
So moved.
All right, there's a second?
I'll second.
Thanks. Any further discussion?
My only, we had talked briefly, Dr. Gritz, about the list of, and it's come up a couple times, right, the Tylenol and the EpiPens and things like that. We don't expect any changes in that list from what Dr. Keller was providing, correct? In the, I just wanna make sure we're getting,
It's not
I
the
know we-
EpiPens.
I'm sorry, it's not the EpiPens,
Not
it's
the
just the
EpiPens.
Tylenol, right? That's where we went back and forth.
That's the standing.
That's what I meant to say, sorry. Okay, I know we weren't paying anything, I just wanna make sure everything is gonna be status quo moving in.
It'll be interesting to look more into why the health department won't take us on, I think.
And do we go through Blue Ridge Health District okay. It's weird, that the same health district.
They're not alone. I mean, many just aren't willing to take on that additional liability.
Cause is Louisa not Blue Ridge Health District?
Probably so.
Well, they would be. So it's
So
weird
it
that they
would be
would,
their local director.
yeah, it's weird it doesn't go back to.
Yeah.
Arching.
And it's a liability consideration, not like a staff time consideration.
Well, I don't wanna speak for them.
Yeah, I think we just crunch for time right now, unless I think next cycle, we probably should just, get a little more information why they refuse to.
Yeah, so that's a good
Patterson
point.
has spoken to him
Okay.
multiple times.
Or won't take us, I wouldn't say refuse, they won't at this point take it on.
Yeah, just spend a little more time, like you said, school started today, we have to do something, so I think our feet are kind of to the fire on that, but I would definitely like to dig in a little deeper next year and.
And I think it's important, the service that will help the parents out, that's important.
And again, zero against Amy, I sure, she's great, but
Oh, I'm sorry, what's the effective date of the contract?
July.
I saw July 8th, I thought. What I saw July 8th.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine, as long as,
kids get Tylenol
Whenever we
today.
sign it.
yeah, my point is simply just that it starts immediately.
Right.
As opposed to like us having to not provide particular services for 30 days to wait for or 15 days to wait for the beginning of a month.
Got it.
And sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, I just realized I didn't see an effective date, I couldn't vote on something without seeing that.
No, you're done.
So I have a second, so all those in favor of approval of the physician MOU contract, please say aye.
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 Chair votes aye, 5-0. All right, on 13A, public comments. During the time of meeting for public comments, I remind one that by policy, only members of the community, meaning residents of Fluvanna County and staff, Fluvanna County Public Schools may address the board unless legal counsel representing the group interested in tonight's proceeding. We welcome all community members who are here to give information or opinions. We ask you to come down to the podium, tell us your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Anyone coming down for public comments? All right, seeing nobody coming down, we'll close this round of public comments. All right, information items. Please look at the VSBA newsletter, upcoming events, and Fluvanna County Public School release upcoming events. On the school board comments. Mr. Evans.
So, great job on the capacity report. Looking at that, comparing the numbers, it's insane. What rooms are used, what rooms aren't used, what we could do. That's very informative. And thanks for getting that updated information on using Dr. Amy Byers, because that's something we definitely needed to have, in my opinion, just in case anything happened, as far as a second opinion. That's all I have to say.
Mr. Brennan.
I agree on the report, thank you so much for that, on the buildings. It'll be interesting to see that side by side, I think, with projected enrollment, and really start to see the future in the next decade to 12 years or 18 years, as you were saying. I'm very sorry to everybody I couldn't make it to the back to school bash. I heard some pretty amazing things. I know people from the sheriff's office reached out to me and sent me photos. The sheriff's office set up there and the Commonwealth Attorney's office. All these great stakeholders we work with all the time. I will move mountains to make it next year because this is the first year I've really missed. So I got to be in almost all the schools last week, that first week, working with the Department of Social Services and going to the orientation for all of the new hires, teaching some training for some required training, but it was really awesome to see the energy and people excited to be back and in the building. Not just a kind of a ghost town for the whole summer. But all that aside, school is open. I got to drop my little girl at kindergarten. Mostly just the moms crying this morning when I got there. All of our crying happened at home before we got there, so just my wife crying. But it was really, really awesome. I've already gotten emails, photos from her teacher. Everybody's smiling and laughing in the classrooms. It's just so great to see. So I look forward to another great year, and I'm excited to be a part of it from the beginning, sitting on this board this year.
Thank you. Mr. Rittenhouse?
Yes, I did attend convocation last Friday. It was very exciting, high energy. I felt out of place. I had a different colored T-shirt than everybody else, but it was nice. I do hope to get more time in the schools this year. I'll try to make time for that. That's all.
All right, thank you. Dr. Kelly?
Yeah, I want to thank the staff for their hard work across all of these bits and taking all the requests from board members and being able to synthesize data and all of that. It's an absolute burden. I'm remarkably glad that we're equipped with this new information about our facilities. It'll take a little time to kind of get into it a little bit more, but having a long-term roadmap is critical to knowing what's coming at you, and so I really appreciate that. I'll note that this is the first year where I wasn't able to make much of the back to school stuff. I feel like for the last 3 or 4 years, I might have been the only board member at most of the events, especially the summer ones, and this year I've just been professionally underwater, just very busy, and so I'm seeing light at the end of the tunnel. I've got a calendar item for Friday to go explore some of the buildings with some of the leadership here, and so I'm excited to be back in there and see our students. As I've said at convocation and other events, having our kids back in the building, like day number 1 is like my happiest day, because I know that the students are being well cared for, they're being fed, they're somewhat objectively safer, and we get to set eyes on them, and so it is something to be celebrated. And we're all happy for some of the families who are just now getting their oldest children into kindergarten, for instance. Like, I'm so exceptionally happy to hear how it went on the first day and what it's like to hear about the first day of kindergarten. That's exciting. So all of that is fabulous. My apologies for the back to school bash as well. I worked all weekend. But lots of great things forthcoming throughout the year, and so I expect to be more available and visible and excited for the ride.
Thank you, Dr. Kelly. Yeah, I'll just echo everybody else said. I mean, feel a lot of excitement in the air. School, glad that, school's back in session. That Abrams building looks fantastic. Yeah, Friday Night Lights is coming up, so. With that said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor to adjourn our meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
I try to leave the easy motions.